you can be at that point where the excitement is so much. Your parents are shopping, you are shopping, everybody's excited because yay, you get admission into school. And while that is a praiseworthy event, while that is a testimony, while that is a testimony, while it's a praiseworthy event, there's still some planning to do. So yes, you've gained admission into school. Please excuse me. Yes, you've gained admission into school, but still, there's still some planning to be done. I gained admission is not enough. Now you've gained admission, what's next? There's always a planning to be done. I've gained admission is not enough. What next? So today, that's what I'm going to be sharing with you. You've gained admission into school, everybody's excited. Mommy has gone shopping, daddy has gone shopping. In fact, your first allowance is dropping into your account this week because October is when students return back to school in Nigeria, at least for this year, this session. Every university or polytechnic students, they'll be returning back to school this year, right? This month, rather, this month of October, in private universities all over the country, Nigeria, they are all returning back to school. So now you gain admission, everybody's excited. What's next? And that's what we are going to be talking about today. With that, I welcome you to Empower with Counselor B, which is a program on Jewels and Pearls Ladies channel, where we empower young people with the knowledge they need to excel in life. I'm transmitting live both on Instagram and on YouTube. So please pardon me if I'm turning my head um, in two directions. Please pardon me. So let's continue. Now, planning for the university. Number one, why are you going to the university? You've gained admission, right? Ask yourself, sit yourself down for a bit. Why? Why did I join? Why am I going into the university? What is my why? What is my why? You need to clarify that. Yes, your parents may have helped you to secure that admission. They may have followed you to the interviews. They may have purchased the form for you. You've gone through that process of application and now you've gained admission. But ask yourself, why am I entering into the university? What is my why? Because that will define a lot of things for you. That will define a lot of things for you so that you are not focused on is what my parents want. I'm in school because my parents want me to be in school, or I'm in school because this is my next level of life. How can we make your being in school count? And that's what we are here for. How we can make your being in school count. So let's continue. Please pardon my voice today. It is well with me. Okay, so we continue. Number one, you are in school to learn. So, in clarifying your why are you in school? Number one, you must know is because of knowledge. You need to increase your knowledge base and you need to get a certificate while you're on that journey. You need to get grounded while you're on that journey. You need to increase your knowledge base. So now you say, yes, I want to be in school, I want to be school, and you've gained admission. You are in school to learn. It's important to clarify that you are in school to learn. I know you've heard it many times, but sometimes it hasn't sunk in for some people. It has not entered at all. They're only hearing it from other people. You need to tell yourself and say, hey, I'm in school to learn. I didn't come here to play. I'm in school for serious business. And that is very, very critical. You need to tell yourself that. That's one. Number two, now you are in school. What is your plan? By what is your plan, I mean, what do you plan to graduate with? Now, this session is not just for people in their first degree, people that getting into their first degree. No, this session is also for returning students. It's also for returning students that are saying, "Hey, I want to plan for my new session. Whether my new session has been great or it has not been great, if you want to plan for your new session, this session is also for you. This should I say class now? No, not a class. But this session is for you because it's important that you know that you can make it. Even though no matter what your GPA was before now, it's important you know that you can still make it. You can still make it. So by all means, make sure you encourage yourself. You can still make it. You can still make it. So now back to what I was saying. I was asking, I said, what GPA, what CGPA do you want to finish with? What CGPA do you want to finish with? So let me ask you that question. What CGPA do you want to finish with? Because a lot of people are not aware of that. And it's important you know. If you don't know the CGPA you are going to finish with, the truth is that you could get distracted and you could just fall for about anything. You could just say, oh, it doesn't matter. As far as I go through school, I'm okay. But you need to define it. Success doesn't just fall on people, particularly academic success. Okay, every success. There's always a planning stage. There's always a imaginative stage. There's always something, at least a vision, something you imagine and say, oh, I wish at the end of when I'm finishing school, I'm called up to the stage. The VC shakes my hand, or somebody in authority shakes my hand. I'm acknowledged. Just something, a vision. Success doesn't just happen. No, there's principle to success. There are always principles in life to success. There are always principles in life to success. Always. There always has been principles in life to success. So you ask yourself, now that you have said you are going back to school as a new student or as a returning student, what CGPA do you want to come out with? Now, by CGPA, it simply means cumulative grade point average. Cumulative grade point average, which is the sum of your first semester and your second semester divided by 2, as long as you don't have a carryover. That's for returning students. But for new students, it's a new slate. So you're just getting into school year 1, or as a direct entry student, you're entering year 2. What happens is that you have 2 semesters in a session. So you will do a first semester, whatever your GPA is, your grade point average is. When you do your second semester, your GPA for semester 1 and semester 2 will be added together and divided by 2, and that makes your CGPA, which is your cumulative grade point average. If you check my YouTube channel, you'll find out that I took time to break it down in one of the videos I have made. That video is titled, I think, How to Calculate Your GPA. How to calculate your GPA, and it can actually be very powerful. So if you can do that, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can watch it. It's live there, so you can get all the information that you need. Welcome, Sister Sefe. Okay, so we can get that information on my YouTube channel. But now, like I said, you must define what you want to finish the university with. What do you want to finish with? Your parents can say, oh, my daughter or my son is going to finish with a first class. Your parents they can they can just prophesy over you, they can pray over you, they can speak over you, they can motivate you, they can give you that drive that my daughter or my son, I'm hoping you will not finish with anything less than a 2-1. It's fine. Your parents can say that, but you yourself, you would have to talk to yourself and ask yourself that question. Sit yourself down and say, you know what do I want to finish the university with? Or for this session, this new session, what do I plan to finish this session with? It is very important. Very important. You cannot afford to just breeze into a session. If you breeze in, you will breeze out without anything tangible. If you want something tangible to come out of this new session, you need to plan. Now, I will encourage you to go to my YouTube channel and check out how to calculate the CGPA. Now, let me break it down just generally. Grades one can come out with. You can finish this session with a first class, which is a 4.50 to a 5.00, or that's a first class, or you can finish this session with a 3.5, between a 3.50 and a 4.49 GPA, and that's a 2-1. Or you can finish the session with a 2.50 to a 3.49 GPA, that's a 2-2. Or you can finish the session with below 2.5, maybe a 1.5 to a 2.49. That is like a third class. Now, anything below a 1.5, 0.5, that is probation. That's probation, and that's a very, very poor result. Does not mean the end has come for that person. No, that's not what it means. It just means that that person would need a lot more to rise. The person will need a lot more, a lot more academic input to rise, a lot more. So in case if you are in that range of below 1.5 or below 0.5, all is not lost. A lot of things would need to be done in terms of correcting that mistake. It does not mean you cannot rise from it. It simply means that you have to be open and be willing to do what it takes to rise from it. Such a person would need to go and number one, see a counselor so they can diagnose and find out what exactly happened, what triggered um that kind of low result. There could be different factors, and it's important we look into it so that we can search it out and prevent a repetition of a low result, the causes of a low result. So that is very, very important. Now, having broke it down to say these are the different classes one can finish with, it's also important that you know that beyond knowing the classes, you have to decide which class do I want to finish with. It's your choice. And that's one of the things I spoke about in my book, Tips to Succeed in Tertiary Institutions. I took time to explain what it is, and I gave also hypothetical cases of how to calculate your GPA so that it'll be easy for you to apply it. Now, let's go out of the book a little bit. Now, write down what you want to finish with. As you are listening to me now, write down what you want to finish with. What do you want to finish with? Write it down. Write it down. Writing your vision or what you desire down is a principle that is beyond any motivational speaker, is beyond any counselor or beyond any preacher. Writing things down that you believe in is actually a principle of the Bible. You have to write down your vision. What do you want to finish with? What do you want to finish it? Write it down. I want to finish with a first class. And once you write first class, please put in brackets what the first class grade is. 4.5 to 5.0 CGPA. Close the brackets. That way, you have defined exactly where you want to be. So you have said you want to finish with a first class, which is a great, very, very great desire. And the amazing thing is that God works with our desire. God works with our desire. You'll be amazed. If you desire something good and you put it before God and begin to work towards it, you'll be amazed. You achieve it. You actually get it. So it's important that beyond saying, oh, I want to get this, write it down. Write down what you want to finish with. I want to finish with a first class, in bracket 4.50 to 5.0 CGPA. Write it down. It's important you write down the GPA you want to finish with. That's number one. Number two, Now you have decided you want to finish with a first class, or you have decided you want to finish with a 2-1, or you have decided you want to finish with a 2-2, whatever grade you have decided to finish with is fine. But make sure you'll be proud of it. Make sure it's something that will give you joy at the end of the day. That 5 years from now, 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, whatever time you take for you to finish your course, make sure that when you finish, it's a grade you'll be excited and you'll be proud to tell everybody that and say, hey, I finished with a 2-1, or I finished the first class, or I finished with a 2-2. You will not be ashamed that whenever they're asking, what did you finish with? You won't be hiding and say, I don't know, or you dodge the question, or you keep quiet. So make sure what you are choosing is what you know you'll be proud of, you'll be happy with in time to come. I think that is very, very critical. So now you've written it down. Number two, looking at that goal, ask yourself, what would not help me achieve my goals? I want us to look at what would not help us achieve our goals before we look at what will help us. So what will not help me achieve a first class? Think about it very well. What are those things that would hinder my getting a first class? Think about it. What are those things? Because you must plan. You must plan. You must plan. You can't just leave it to chance. You must plan. So think about it. If I'm going to get a first class, that means I would not follow friends that do not have a planning for their session. That means that already defines the kind of friends you follow this session, whether you're a returning student or you're a new student. That means there are certain friends you won't follow, you won't hang around them this session. Not because you hate them, but because your vision requires that certain friends will not be able to go with you on this journey. Certain friends. Now, what kind of friends am I talking about? I'm talking about people that you know that they just like to faff. You know, there are some people that you know they just like to faff. They just enjoy faffing, meaning they may go to class, even though they know they have class. They may show up, they may not show up. They may go to class, they may submit assignments, they may do their teamwork, everything is like may. And then they may show up for tests, they may read. Now, these kinds of friends that have not defined where they are going to has already told you that you cannot hang with them. It has already showed to you that your paths will not rhyme well. So you already know what will not help you achieve your goals. Certain friends would not help you achieve your goal. Okay, the second point under things that will not help me achieve my goal, or situations or people that will not help me achieve my goal, is laziness. You already know, if you set out for a first class, you already know you signed that you will not be lazy. You will not be lazy in submitting your assignment, in showing up for class. Even though your class is 8 o'clock, you won't give any excuse. You make sure you've had your bath, you've gotten your stuff ready, and you are in class before 8 a.m. So one of the things that will not help you achieve a 5.0 is laziness. So that's one of the things you must tick off and say, I will not be lazy because I want to achieve this GPA. I will not be lazy. Now, number three, or the third, or the C point under number two would be not submitting assignments. You already know that if you are going to smash a first class degree or a 2-1, you must be submitting assignments. You must. You cannot afford not to be submitting assignments. You must be submitting assignments. And that is critical. That is critical. You've got to be submitting assignments. I'll tell you what, when I had my first degree and I didn't know this, all these things I'm sharing with you today, I didn't know this. That's why I feel like this generation is so blessed that people are talking about it now. Nobody really had your time when I was in school, when I was my first degree. Nobody had your time to talk about this and break these things down. Nobody had your time. So you are really graced if you are listening to me now. If you are watching this video live, or you are watching after later, you are, as long as you are watching this video, you are already advantaged, because we didn't have this information during our time. So now you know. It's important to put that knowledge to work, to practice. Now, in my first degree, my my I did some assignments. I didn't do some assignments for different reasons. Maybe there was no time, or I was lazy, or I just had excuses, or I just didn't understand the assignments. There were I know I didn't submit all my assignments. I know every session. I knew I did. There were some assignments I did for some courses, for some I didn't do. However, when I went back to school again and finding out all these principles and putting them to work, after I set out to get a 4.5, a first class, between a 4.5 and 5.0, that was my target when I was going back to school for my second degree. Now, having that target before me, guess what? I did not miss any assignment. I say it clearly. I did not miss submitting any assignment, any. I went back to back to make sure I submitted all my assignments. Why? Because I had a vision. That's why I'm telling you today, you've got to set a vision for your school, for your schooling, for your academic work. You've got to set a vision. You cannot rely on good, good wishes. Your parents wish you well, that you excel. You come out with a 2-1 or a 2-2 or first class. Your friends wish you well. You even wish yourself well. Wishes will not cut it when it comes to academics and when it comes to success itself. Wishes will not cut it. You've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. And that's why we are here, to help you, to guide you, so you not make the mistakes you made during our first degree. Because after then, I didn't make that mistake again. Start going all the assignments. If you want to make first class, yeah, you cannot afford not to be submitting assignments. You cannot afford not to be going for your test, not reading and preparing for your test. You cannot afford it. You cannot afford not to be ready for your exams, right? So let's go to the third point, how we plan for the new session. Now let's flip the coin. Let's flip the coin. Before we said what we would not do, or what would not help us achieve our goals of getting a good result, of getting a first class, a 2-1. Now let's look at what we should do. What would help me in achieving my goal of coming out with a first class, of coming out with a 2-1 or a 2-2 at the most? What would help me achieve my goals? So on that point, I have number one, like-minded friends. That's a huge one for me. Like-minded friends. You must have friends that want to excel in their academics too. You must have. If you are going to excel in your academics, your inner circle, I'm not saying your general or your classmates. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying your inner circle, people you relate with closely. They must also be people that want to excel in their academics. Because if they don't want to and you hang around them as inner circle friends, chances are they will draw you back, not intentionally sometimes. They will draw you back unintentionally by distracting you. Oh, instead of going to read, why don't you go and watch a movie? Instead of going to read, why don't you go and hang out? Let's go and take some drinks. If not, instead of going to read, why don't you go and play some sports? That does not mean a first class person doesn't have a social life. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that they will take or end up taking your time in such a way that it may affect your academic excellence. That's what I mean. So if you want to achieve your goal of having a first class, of having a 2-1, that's a second class upper, or a second class lower, you must have like-minded friends. They may even be in different courses. They may not even be studying what you're studying, but they must be like-minded. Number two, on that same point, things that would help you to achieve your goals for this new session. You must avoid distractions. Now, distractions in what way? In what way? You may ask me in what way. I will say things like relationships. I know not everybody would be able to do that, but if you can, please do not go into an opposite sex relationship this session. Try and focus. Try and focus, especially if you are a new student, you are a 100 level student or 200 level student. What are you doing with a boyfriend? What are you doing with a girlfriend? You do not need opposite sex relationship as you are getting into school. Why? Because the schoolwork is already demanding enough of your time. You don't need to reduce that time again with relationships. So some people say, oh, but I handled it well in secondary school. I had a boyfriend and there was no problem. I passed my WAEC. There was no issue. This is not WAEC. This is not WAEC. You've got to be serious. You've got to remove distractions. You've got to. Now, does it mean that we are not going to be friendly with the opposite sex? No, we are just going to be friends. That means every relationship with the opposite sex is going to be on friendship level, friendship alone. So no romantic expectation that will keep you on your toes, saying, oh, when is he going to call me? Or you begin to cry silently in your room instead of you reading. You are crying silently in your room. Hey, he has not called me today. Oh, I saw him talking to a girl the other time. Oh, I saw the way he was looking at that girl. Oh, my friend said she was talking to one girl across the street. You don't need that drama. You don't need it. This is the time for your academics, especially if you are a new student. Our jambitos, they are just getting to year one or diploma or JUPEP, or you are a transfer student, you are just coming into an institution for the very first year. By all means, keep off relationships. It's for your own good. I know that one. It's still up to you to listen, and I hope you listen. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, another thing that can help you, the things you should do to achieve a very good result, is to create a reading schedule. So create a schedule where you can read. So plan just the way you plan your courses. Has they have a timetable, right? You have a timetable in class for your courses. The same way, create a timetable for yourself. That's the reading schedule I'm talking about. Create a timetable for yourself and say, okay, I'll read CSE 106 by 7 p.m. I'll take a 15 minutes break after, and I'll read BIY 112 on. So this is my schedule on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, I'll read. Just create a reading schedule for yourself. It's a gift you give yourself. You may not understand the value of that now, but in the coming sessions, you understand that, hey, I did something good last session. Is very helpful. So create a reading schedule, because even if you fall off from the schedule, it's easy to get back on because you had actually created a schedule before. But if you didn't have a schedule before, you can just faff away your time. You can just play away your time and say, I'll get to it, I'll read later. I'll get to it, I'll read it. But having a schedule just helps to organize and makes you more disciplined towards reading. Number four, I think that's my fourth point under the things you should do. I think that's my fourth point. Join or form study groups. So you know people that are studying the same thing you are studying in on the same level you are on. Form a study group and say, hey guys, let's be reading together. Maybe boys and girls, a mixture of them. Hey guys, let's be reading together. Oh, what time is convenient? Okay, let's fix so and so time, so and so place. We are going to be reading together. Now, for some people, it will be convenient physically. For some others, maybe some are living off campus, some are living on campus. You can fix it online. Why is there Zoom? Why is there WhatsApp groups? Why is there a live we can do? Why can we call? If we can call through WhatsApp, you can have a study group through WhatsApp. So look for online means, other means you can, meet up and have this class. Is very, very important. Don't leave yourself to chance. It's so important. Do not leave yourself to chance. Number five, get your lecture timetable. I can't say this enough. Some students will say, I didn't know we had that course. Oh, I didn't know. No, you've got to know. The moment your timetable is out, snap it. Thank God you have phones. And perhaps if you're in a school that doesn't allow you use phones, by all means, write it out. Write out your lecture timetable and make sure you are up to date. Perhaps if they are switching courses, make sure you are up to date. Be in touch with your class rep so that they can carry you along. And by the way, class rep means class monitor, for those that are not familiar with the word. Okay, so by all means, follow them up, follow up your class rep, and make sure anytime there's a change in the timetable, you are carried along so that you don't miss out from class. Do not miss class. Do not miss class. Beyond the fact that coming to class adds to your attendance, and attendance in most private university is taken very seriously. Beyond that is that when you attend a class, you have a better chance or higher chance of remembering what was taught than if you did not attend at all. If you attend a class, you have a higher chance of remembering what was taught than if you did not attend at all. If you did not attend at all, it means you rely on maybe notes of your friends or a recording of your friend. But if you were there when the teaching was going on, chances are, as your lecturer was talking, certain things would have been playing in your mind concerning that subject. Certain questions you could have asked, certain clarifications you would have gotten because you were in class. So it's important you're in class. And while we are still on this class matter, please ask questions. Don't be too shy to ask your lecturers questions when or after a lecture has taken place. If you cannot ask during the lecture, after the lecture, right in class, please ask questions. Don't go home with unanswered questions. Your parents have paid too much, especially if you are going to a private university. Your parents have paid too much for you to leave yourself like that, for you to take yourself for granted, for you to, waste an opportunity to clarify certain things in a subject. By all means, ask questions. Don't waste your parents' money. If you don't understand that subject, or you don't understand that topic, ask questions till you understand. Okay? So now we go to the next point. Define your coping mechanisms. It's part of planning for the new session. Define your coping mechanisms. What do I mean by that? There'll be days that will not be wonderful. So as a counselor, I want to bring that out. There'll be days that probably your lecturer will offend you, your friends will offend you, something will just go wrong, or you don't have money and that upsets you, or somebody just offends you. There'll be dark days, there'll be days that will not be pleasant. It's a given. It's a given in a school environment. Even in life, there are days that are not great, right? There are some days like that, or things will happen to you that you're like, why? What happened? Who did I offend? But doesn't mean we give up on those days. We just learn to cope. So I will ask you, what is your coping mechanism? What is your coping mechanism for this new session? So if you get 8/20 in a test, and perhaps it's announced and everybody in your class hears it, what happens to you after? What's your coping mechanism? What's your plan? Are you going to shut down and say, you know what, I'm done with school? Or are you going to start avoiding that class? You won't go to class again, that man's class or that woman's class. You stop that lecture, you stop attending that lecture. What is your coping mechanism for this session? What's your plan? And I think it's a very important question. I think so. Now, I say that because some people have no plan. And so when things will happen to them that are unpleasant, guess what they'll do? They'll go and look for substances that would make them feel high again. Talking of alcohol, I'm talking of drug abuse, I'm talking about some people even go and just go and have sex with somebody. I'm talking about some people go and masturbate to cope with a bad situation. No, that's not the way. That's why now you must begin to plan for your coping mechanisms, or your coping mechanisms rather. So there are different ways, healthy ways of coping. This in this session, even as you resume school, there are healthy ways of coping. You will say like what? Yes, there are days that may not be great, but when you come back or at the end of that day, you can, number one, pray. I know you say, she has started again. She's doing Christian. You can't do without prayer actually. Pray about it. Learn to pray. Learn to cry before God in prayer. If that thing it was very painful that happened to you, cry. Worship, cry before God. Number one, pray. Number two, what are those healthy things you can do that will not necessarily, it won't affect your life negatively, but they relieve stress. They remove the stress from you. They help you to relieve stress healthily. What are those things? For example, if you watch a movie, you feel better. For some people, if they run outside and they play some sports, they go and do some basketball game, they'll feel better. Some will just need to do some gymming, do some exercises, they'll feel better. Some will just get some board games around and play with a few people, they'll feel better. Some will just play a game on their phone, they'll feel better. Those are still healthier ways to cope on bad days this session. Or some people will just read a book, maybe a book of their interest. And I'll really advise, if you are reading romance, please read clean romance, because you don't want to mess up your mind, right? Read clean romance. Or for some people, they'll read suspense. Some people like horror. It's not my thing. Okay, so what look for healthier ways or healthy ways to cope with bad situations, because the truth is that they will come this session. There'll be a time or a day that a lecturer will shout at you or lose it at you, or your friends or your roommates. Those things will happen. But you need to have healthy ways of coping so that you don't just go and slap somebody. And in that anger of slapping somebody, they now give you suspension letter, which is now becoming a big crisis when you could have just had healthier ways. So if someone gets to me, it's either I talk to them then, or if I feel I'm too angry to talk, oh, I take a break, I go watch a movie, I slot in my earpiece and listen to a cool song to calm me down. Also, you must have healthy coping mechanisms. Or perhaps you could even be from your parents. Perhaps you're asking them for money and they say, hey guys, I don't call me for now. Will you go and kill yourself? No, because those things, it's possible. It's possible those things can happen, but you can have there are healthier ways to cope with it. You can listen to a song, an inspirational song that will just give you joy and peace and restore your joy and just give you that balance again. Watch a movie, something good. You definitely can find something good, but not unhealthy ways, not drugs, not alcohol, not sex, not masturbation. No, by all means, always look for healthy means to cope with life challenges, because guess what, life challenges will not end in school. When you are done with the university and you get into the work atmosphere, life challenges continues. So you need to constantly build healthier ways of coping with life. Okay, my next point, also define other things that are important to you this session. Somebody like me, fellowship is important. So I cannot be in the university and not be in a fellowship. I must always go to fellowship, unless if there's no fellowship holding, there's no church on my campus. But if there's a church, I will be there. So if fellowship is important to you, like it is to me, and like it is to a lot of people, make sure you are there. Perhaps you are a Muslim, make sure you go for your own services too. But by all means, make sure you are fellowshipping with a group of people. And please, like I said, don't follow the ones that kill. Don't follow, have healthier ways. Don't go and join cults. Don't go and join cults. I can beg you. Don't go and join cults, because it's not just you that will be affected. Your family will be affected negatively. It's not just you. It's not just you. You know, when people choose negative pathways, they forget that not just the only ones involved. It affects families, and sometimes it can go into generations. So it's so important, by all means, that we make sure that we are choosing the right things. Very, very important. Very important. Okay, I think that will be all. That's all I have to say to you today. So if you have not watched my video, watch this video, please go back and watch it all over again from the beginning. And I also want to introduce again my book, Tips to Succeed in Tertiary Institutions. It's just 1,000 naira. If you're on YouTube, if you send us an email to contact you, we can. If not, just go to www.seller.co .m/m sorry .co/m/blessing 16. We'll have the link in the description, so you should be able to get our book. Now, a lot of things I've spoken about today are written here, so don't just rely on what we've spoken about today, which is actually great. Also reach out to get our book so that the knowledge is permanent with you. So thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to interacting with you more and more going forward. We'll see you in our next one. I do hope that today you've learned something that can bless you and guide you in your new journey this session. I wish you all the best and see you in our next Empowered with Counselor B. Bye for now. Bye bye.